Hi folks, today is going to be pedal day, which is a Wampler Triumph, which I got for my Christmas. Nice bit of a surprise there. Anyway, this is meant to be based on a kind of mixture between the Boss SD1, which is my #1 go-to overdrive pedal for everything, and the Digitech Bad Monkey, which I sold years and years ago for about 15 pence before it became something worthwhile. But I've still used something very similar in the Digitech RP1000, which has got an overdrive called the Red Line, which was very, very similar to the Bad Monkey. Anyway, I'm not going to compare this to either because it's not as clearly defined as a lot of people have made out. I've found, with playing this for quite a bit of time since Christmas, smooth is not the Tube Screamer Bad Monkey circuit, and punch is not the Boss SD1. It's a kind of mixture of both somehow. Both very usable, both very different. So we'll explore that. What I'm going to do is do this video in two parts because I want to look at the pedal purely as an overdrive into a clean amp, and then in part two I will use this as I would use the Boss SD1 into the high gain, into a crunch channel, boosting it into the searing high gain sound. So, more controls than an SD1, more tonal adjustment, more things to potentially make it sound bad. So we'll give it a go. I'm going to use the clean channel of the Bugera, and I will use this Laney IRT 4x12. It'll be powered with a little angle power tap, portable with a little phone battery thing, which is nice and simple, and it means I can set it up here for you to see. I'll move the camera in and get started. But before I do, and before I forget, please like and subscribe. I tend to say this at the end of the video, and by then everybody's probably gone to sleep and gone home. So I'm getting it in fairly sharp. Please like and subscribe. The channel numbers have actually grown about 100 in the last month, so that's been, for me, that's excellent. But I would like to, keep it going. So thank you very much if you already have, and if you haven't, please do so. It does help. Now, I'm going to move the camera in, get this set up, and let you hear it, and try not and clip the mic, because I've done that before. Bear with me. Okay, we're back. You should have a little shot of the pedal. First thing I will mention, unlike an SD1 and unlike a Bad Monkey, this will not take a battery. However, I've just set the controls, EQs, there's all straight up. I'll set the volume back a bit, so that's kind of parity. I'll just go through this quite quickly if I can. I have got this set to the smooth mode first. And here is a clean tone. I'm using my Ibanez RG1070 PPZ, which is a premium with DiMarzio tone zone. And pretty dry. I'll pop a touch of reverb on there. And oh, you've got a lovely shot of my knees as well. Okay. So there we go. On. The volume about there seems about parity to off. Maybe back a bit. There we go. So the first thing I will say, now I don't want to keep comparing this to a Boss SD1 or to a Bad Monkey, but the output of this seems hot. It's much higher. To get that kind of parity with the SD1, you're well after halfway. Anyway, here we go, kind of Tube Screamery, boosty sound in the smooth mode. Yeah, that's very Tube Screamery. It does that. Bit of mid push, cuts the bass a wee bit. So that's great. That does that thing. However, I do have an EQ, but I'll get to that. Okay, first thing I want to compare is the smooth to punch. Yeah, that's got more grit. That to me is more... more full range almost. It's not as in a blanket. That is smooth. And there is punch. So there's a lot more top end than that. I don't think the gain has particularly moved a lot, but the illusion of gain has. That has more cut. So, depends on your amplifier, depends on your guitar, and depends on what you want actually. However, that is both very usable. So yeah, I would say if you were playing a Telecaster, probably not the punch sound. This is quite a dark guitar, the tone zone is quite a dark pickup, so that punch setting gives me a little bit of that top end and presence back. And that could probably make the difference of getting you to cut through in a mix, in a band situation. So we will quickly just gun the gain, take the volume down a touch. Back to smooth with the gain gunned. Big difference. Big difference. Again, it's not so much in the gain, it's how it's delivering it. This has got a lot more top end and a lot more kind of pushed mids when it's in punch, as it describes. So essentially, this isn't, neither is like an SD1. It is an amalgamation of both. However, it's almost like having two overdrive pedals in one. So you've got a muddy amp, you can brighten it with punch, or if you've got a very muddy amp, you can back it off with smooth. And the smooth is very smooth. Yeah, that's got a lot more mid-range kind of honking punch. Anyway, take it back to something halfway. Back to smooth, and I will sweep through all the EQ settings for you. So bass right off. That's very bassy. Probably clipping that mic there. Mid. Now we're getting into kind of Tube Screamer land. Very honky and full up. That's almost a cocked wah sound. The mid-range is powerful. That treble is quite smooth until the last quarter. That last quarter seems to have a big jump there. So this is where I think there's a crossover, because this set with a lot of mids and a lot of treble are set back, and on punch mode is not a million miles away. However, we will try the punch mode, and the first thing I'll do is I'll just gun the gain. Yeah, it's not going to do metal, but it'll do metal if it's mixed in with something else. So in punch mode, the bass. Too much, you know, that's actually going to start flubbing speakers at that. Huge range of bass control. However, it does depend on your amp. Very scooped there. I want to try something here. Gain full up. Yeah, it's still not enough. Thought it was worth a try. Yeah, with my settings, the mid-range is too powerful up here. And the treble is very harsh. In the punch mode for me, kind of everything around noon is good. That's very, very nice. Now, I've not changed the guitar pickup selection at all. I'll move it into position 4, which is your kind of Strat sound. Set everything back to where it was. I'll give it a little kick in the volume because it's a weaker sound. Ah, very subtle. Do wish that was a kind of soft switch, but hey. That's really nice. Just adds that little bit of compression, little bit of sustain. Whereas in punch, without touching a thing, you can hear there's a little bit more kind of edge and hair to that. Okay, I can see a context for this. You can set up for a venue, sound check. That sounds great because it could be quite a lively room. Could be empty when you're sound checking, and you've got that's plenty bright enough, plenty clarity, but then it fills up with people and all of a sudden you've no clarity at all. You could switch that over to punch and be pretty much ready to go. So that's probably not how it's meant, but that would work. The other context would be, for example, if you're using a Strat and a Les Paul, or a single coil and a humbucker, because I could say set it to smooth and have a single coil sound. I'll just switch this to single coil. But if I go to the bridge, that would be very muddy. So if I switch that to punch, rather than that, that's very muddy, that's nice and crisp. And then back to the single coil, do that. So yeah, I would say that's where I could probably use this. Not so much in a live context, however, but the smooth with single coils and the punch with humbuckers, I think would be a very, very good way of using this. So you're able to cut mud when you want, you're able to add clarity when you want, without having to mess too much with levels. Yeah. That's me in smooth. Yeah, okay, so my consensus is punch mode for humbuckers works really, really well. Punch mode would work really well in a kind of dull room. Or if you're lucky enough to have a big audience and it sounds a bit muffled now with the number of people, there's not as much reflection. That's more usable than I thought it would be. When I thought, well, an SD1 is a kind of tube screamer and the Bad Monkey's a kind of tube screamer, the different voicing won't really be necessary, but it is. That works really well. Again, it is like having two overdrive pedals. So I'll take the gain right back. Right off, actually. Level up a touch. Put it to smooth, and just using this as a kind of compression, almost like a compressor pedal, just to add a bit lifeless there. That's nice. There is a touch more gain. Punch has a little bit more gain to it. Yeah, that's working really nicely, just to give me that sustain. So just ease that up a touch. And this is where this will work nicely in a band context, especially my kind of thing, because if you're playing something with a kind of clean intro and then into something heavy rock, I like to have a bit of grit. I don't like a completely clean channel and then hit you with high gain. So, you know, think Guns N' Roses type Knocking on Heaven's Door type stuff. You've got, with that, that's okay. But if I just put that into position 2, so I'm away from the humbucker. And all I would have to do then is switch to the overdrive channel of the amp, and it's already got a bit more grit and a bit more boost into it. So that's working almost like having an extra channel. I have a clean channel. I have a bit of grit. I have my overdrive channel without the bit of grit. And then I have my overdrive channel boosted. So that one pedal would give me 4 options with a 2-channel amp. I'm favouring punch, as you may guess. However, I'll try. That's very clean. I would need more gain in that just to work, to do a similar idea. But you know that works too. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to try and cut this off about there, because my conclusion is this does everything. It has so much EQ control that it really wouldn't matter what your amplifier is. It really wouldn't matter if it was a very bright amp, then you would maybe favour smooth, or if it was a very dull amp, you would favour punch. Or if you were using single coils, you may favour smooth. If you're using humbuckers, you may favour punch, or any combination of the above. Now, how it compares to my SD1, it's hard to tell. It's very, very similar in a lot of ways. That kind of smooth tone, I would say, is actually closer than the punch. The punch has a little bit more clarity. I think that's the word. There's a clarity to it. However, the Boss SD1 works really, really well in some amps. And I'm lucky enough that it works well in both my Jet City and it works well in my Bugera. However, if I'm playing, say, the Jet City at home volume, there isn't very much low end at all. However, with that I would be able to put it to maybe smooth and boost it up a bit, boost up the low frequencies. So for €110 roughly, I'll put a link in the description below. The link's affiliated, so if you do buy anything from Lexitoman, allegedly I get points, and points mean prizes. I'm not sure. It's meant to be some kind of income or money off things I buy. I'm not sure. I've not had enough to make it worthwhile yet. So the overdrive pedal to rule them all, do you know, it's possibly pretty damn close. It's got so much variation, so much range, that I would say it probably is. It's not quite as limiting as the SD1. So part 2, I'm going to put this into the high gain setting of the amp and just use it as that boost. Like you would with a Tube Screamer, like you would with the SD1, like you would with an awful lot of overdrive pedals. Even my little Golden Horse that I've done a little review of, the Klon type, it does that very well. It's not a Klon type circuit. It doesn't sound like that. It's also not an SD1, and it's not a Bad Monkey or a Tube Screamer. It's kind of an amalgamation of all of them, but with EQ to surpass every single one. Yeah, good pedal. Quiet pedal as well. We'll tell for sure when it's into the gain channel, but this has got so much power because, like I say, there's parity. So if I want to even give a high gain amp a push, I think I'll be about their maximum. Otherwise, you're just going to be really clipping the tubes, pushing the tubes really hard. So there we go. I'll repeat what I said at the start. Please like and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed this video of my left knee. And no, Daniel Day-Lewis, his was left foot, wasn't it? Okay, ignore that one. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll have the overdrive sound in this into a high gain amp very, very soon. Bye bye.